Hey guys, welcome into a quick review of the Icon Timax short glove. We're going to start things off here by taking an up-close and personal look here in the studio, give you a quick unboxing, give you an idea of what to expect, and then we're going to head out on the bike and I'm going to give you a real-time feedback review on the bike and let you know what it's like to actually ride in these. So let's start with the packaging. I was really surprised when I ordered this from Revzilla and received a box on my doorstep that was almost large enough to hold a fucking helmet. And I'm thinking to myself, all I ordered this time was gloves. I don't understand why the box is so big. And then I got this when I got inside of the box. I gotta tell you, it's impressive packaging. It makes you feel a little more special than just two gloves stuck together and clipped onto some sort of advertising placard and thrown into a baggie, which is typically what we're gonna see when we get into a new pair of gloves. So let's go ahead and get this bad boy opened up and get an idea for what's inside. Now I've already taken some of the packaging out because I've already played with the gloves. So it's just separated with some tissue paper. And then this is the placard that was actually on the gloves right here. So just basically tells you what it is and the size that I got, which is the size large. All right, so we'll get the packaging out of the way and get these bad boys out. Nice little slipcase they put them in. Again, really makes you feel like you bought something premium. And at this price range, at $225, make no mistake about it, you are buying something premium. Now, the original Timax were popular, hugely popular for several years, but then they were retired from Icon's gear lineup. So for a few years, we've not seen any of the Timax, and there's been different stories as to why that is. Some people have said, and I don't know how true it is, that certain biker gangs were buying these and using them in bar fights, somewhat to their advantage. I don't know the truth in that, if that's real or not. But now they are back with a slight redesign and even a couple of upgrades, and we're going to be discussing that here in a couple of minutes. So let's talk about the specs really quick before we get the gloves on and really start breaking it down. The entire backhand is done in all leather. It is a very premium, soft, supple leather, exactly what you would expect in this price range. It doesn't feel cheap. It's nice and fine and smooth. It's a really, really, really nice leather. You've got the floating knuckle construction, so you've got a lot of flexibility going on here in the fingers. Lots of expansion panels built into it, so you've got a tremendous amount really of flexibility in this glove, and you can see another expansion panel here in the thumb, which is really, really great for that thumb dexterity. You've got the wrist wrap closure, so it's not just a simple Velcro that goes over your wrist, it's actually being wrapped around, and I'll show you why that's going to come in handy in just a couple of minutes. They call this the Battle Hide goatskin leather palm. So Battle Hide is their own name for it, but it is goat skin. That means two things: very, very high abrasion resistance and very soft, supple feel. It feels like an extremely high grade leather, and it doesn't cause any interference between the feeling in your hand to the feeling through the bars on your bike. And then you have various leather overlays throughout the entire construction. Now, as far as the fitment goes, it's traditional American fitment. So if you're used to wearing something like Alpine Stars or something that fit very slim, you're used to having to go up a size, this is a true to fit. So if you wear a size large glove in most everything, order a size large glove. I actually wear a large, and this fit me absolutely perfectly. Now you'll notice it's not a huge struggle to get on the hand. I love this pull ring. So what you've actually got here is one of the nicest, truest tailored fits that I've ever felt in any glove at any price range. I've spent less and I've spent more on gloves, and this has the best possible fit. One of the biggest disappointments I've ever had is I bought a pair of Knox hand droids a few years back when they first came out on the market, the Generation 1. And super badass, tons of protection, but I couldn't wear it. Even trying to break it in on the bike, it was so constrictive in my pinky finger. that it actually hurt to bend it any more than this. I mean, literally hurt. It cut off circulation. This fits true. I don't have a lot of excess room in the fingertips, which is a big deal. And most every glove that you try on, even if it is the proper size in every respect, you have a lot of extra area that you can pinch off at your fingertips. And these don't have that. I was very, very surprised. I was talking about one of the upgrades, and that's going to be on the pull ring. The way they've done it now, it's not just a loose floppy pull ring that just hangs off of your glove the whole time. You actually will wrap the wrist wrap around it and completely cover it. Now you can run it this way if you do want it flopping around. I'm not really entirely certain why you would, but you can do that if you want to. For me, I'm just going to do that. Notice also the way this wrist wrap works, I'm actually able to wear a fairly sizable watch on my rides and not have it interfere like a traditional short cuff glove. Short cuff glove is generally going to stop right about here, and then it's actually pushing up against your watch, so you end up ditching your watch and not wearing it on your ride at all. The comfort, these are extremely, extremely comfortable. I mean, surprisingly comfortable for how gaudy and over-designed they are. You would think that this whole thing is just a gimmick, but they fit so well. And here's the interesting part, or at least what I found to be interesting. They're not as bulky as they look. They don't have very slim fingers or anything. So when I kept watching the video reviews and looking at the pictures, I went, man, that just looks like a really big bulky glove where I'm not going to have any dexterity. And that is actually not the case. This is very, very comfortable, and they don't feel cumbersome in any way. So I was very surprised by that. It's not really a true short cuff glove because you do have this wrist wrap, so it does go further back. You'll notice that the glove itself stops at where a traditional short cuff glove might. Then you have this very, very wide wrist wrap. But being as comfortable as it is, I don't find that to be an issue whatsoever. This fits very easily underneath your jacket. If you're wearing a racing style jacket, you could wrap this around the exterior and it's going to work either way. So you can wear it with a watch, without a watch, whatever you want to do. So you've got that little bit of flexibility as well. I'm just totally surprised by how comfortable and how well fitted. I don't feel like I have to push in, in between the fingers and really pull it super tight. It just fits. And definitely one of the best fits I've ever had. Even from other Icon gloves, this is a wonderful, wonderful surprise. As far as the design goes, I mean, this is very, very polarizing. I mean, it's an over-the-top design. Let's not mince words. You've got to have a certain kind of attitude to be able to pull this kind of glove off. For me, I don't generally wear very flashy gear. As a matter of fact, all my gloves that I own are just flat black or black with carbon fiber or something like that. I don't wear multicolored gloves. I don't usually like my knuckles being a very wild color or anything, but I really debated as to whether I was going to buy these gloves or not. But it kind of matches with the theme of my bike, and I think that's kind of badass by having the exposed metal there. So definitely kind of cool. And you know what? They're not as obnoxious in person as they appear to be in pictures and even in video. So it's just going to be up to you whether you like the design or not. I do, even though it is very over the top. And I expect it to be a lot more cartoonish in person, but it's really not. You've got premium, ultra comfortable leather, and there's absolutely no break-in required. That's a big deal. I don't have to ride on my bike for the next 15, 20 hours sweating in them and trying to get them to conform to the shape of my hand and the grips and get any kind of flexibility. They fit out of the box better than most gloves I've ever tried. As far as protection and performance, again, you've got that goat skin palm, so you've got good abrasion resistance, and it's going to be super comfortable. And you can feel the feedback from the bike through your grips, and that's a very, very big deal. There's nice padding in the palm, fairly, I wouldn't even say thick, it's kind of like medium padding, fairly dense. But would it have hurt them to add a couple of small sliders and scaphoid protection? I mean, at this price range, that's something that honestly is seriously overlooked. At this price range, I expect to have sliders and scaphoid protection on my gloves. So that was a really big disappointment for me to not be able to get that. Now, as far as the titanium panels go, they list this as military grade titanium. I don't know what the fuck military grade titanium means. I think it's just simply a marketing term. I'm very familiar with titanium. I don't know if this is true, pure, raw titanium, if it's an alloy like 6Al4V, but regardless, titanium is going to be very, very hard, very, very lightweight, because it's going to have the strength of steel and more so, but without the density. So they're very lightweight. If these were steel areas that were built onto this glove, these would weigh at least probably close to twice as much as they do. So you're going to get really good impact protection. They're going to slide very, very well. And hey, they're going to be great for smashing mirrors of the fucking cagers that wander into your lane while they're texting. So that's a big plus right there. Okay, so very quickly before we get on the bike, the pros: no break-in required, no painful and constrictive rides to get it to wear into your hand, and there's no pressure on the pinky. That's a really big deal for me. Roomy fingers, but they're not too long, and the gloves aren't bulky at all, and it feels snug all the way around the hand, but not overly tight. The pull ring placement is perfect. The way that they have stitched this, and as far up as they've gone, you really do only need to pull on the pull ring to get the glove all the way on and in full position. That's a big deal. I've had a lot that have had little tabs or leather tabs or whatever, and it just, all I did was kind of pull the palm, and it didn't pull the fingers right, and it didn't pull the back. You can simply just slide this right on. Really, really easy. Maximum flexibility on the fingers. That's a big, big deal. No loss of sensation through your bars, and the gloves come on and off a lot more easily than other gloves that fit this well. You saw me pull this off. I just simply grabbed the fingers. I didn't have to do this and pull and yank and do all kinds of contortionist shit. I had bought a pair of Revit Canyon gloves, and I was super excited about getting them, but the way they had built the cuff, it was impossible for me to get my hand in. It took me a couple of minutes of squirming and fighting to get my hand in there. The glove fit perfectly, and they were amazing. And Revit makes amazing gloves. However, I could not deal with that cuff. It was very, very difficult to get on and very difficult to get off. So that wasn't going to work for me. I don't want to stand in a parking lot for 5 minutes trying to squirm my damn gloves on my hands before I can leave wherever it is I'm at. With the Timax, no issues with that whatsoever. I also like the TPU right here. It looks nice and it feels good, and I don't know if it's really going to add a great degree of protection over my wrist, but it possibly could. Anything between you and the asphalt is a good thing. And for me, I think that these provide ample protection for street riding. It is not a racing glove, but you've got good protection on the back of the knuckles, lots of reinforced leather areas. The TPU back here behind this expansion panel, TPU here, the padding that's over here, and the use of the goat skin. Ample, ample protection for the street. Good hard shit. The cons, and there are a few. There is no pinky protection sewn into this glove. There should be an extra thick overlay of very tough material over the pinky, because your hand, as your hands go out, a lot of times you can experience this action right here. Also, I would like to have seen the pinky attached to the ring finger, because as we know, a very common injury is the pinky being bent backward or sideways and broken off, and you have the extra support with the additional finger if it were sewn together. I really think that that should be in there at $225. It's protection that really should be there. There are no sliders or scaphoid protection. To me, that's almost unacceptable in this price range, because in this price range, you're buying into the level of racing gauntlets and or lower level racing gauntlets, or the highest level of short cuff racing gloves like Dainase's and the four strokes and this and that. You should be getting more protection in the palm, because that is the natural inclination, is for your hands to go out. And at this point, you're going to get a tiny little bit of bump protection, but your hand can still grab when it hits the asphalt, breaking your hand or grabbing the glove and tearing it at the seams and opening it up and letting you slide on your skin. Many, many different things that can happen that will be avoided with the use of sliders. There is no touch screen availability on the finger pads, and I find that rather disheartening in 2017, where all of us have smartphones. We all rely on them to some degree for navigation or other things, even just to change the playlist on your music. Yeah, I'm really disappointed that it doesn't have the touch screen finger pads on there. That's a really big deal. It's 2017 icon. Wake up. Every glove at this point should have at least one contact point. There's not much ventilation. This is going to be a very warm glove when you're writing it in the heat. There's no way around it. You're going to get a little bit of perforation back here. I don't really know how much that's going to do. As you're writing, this does kind of sit outward like that. It does look a little bit awkward when your hand is bent. So you get a little bit of airflow here. Really, that's, in my opinion, more for letting the heat of your hand vent out than to actually let air in. There is no set of air inlets anywhere on the fingers or around the knuckle protection. And lastly, the price. This puts you in the league of hardcore racing gloves and lower level racing gauntlets. They should offer more protection for $225, but you're getting premium materials and you're getting an exotic material like titanium, so I understand why there's a lot of cost associated. Now, let's stop here with the jibber jabber and let's get our asses on the bike and see how they actually feel and talk about my reaction as I'm riding. All right, so it's time to start talking about these gloves. I gotta tell you, you know, we talked about this in the tabletop review, and it carries through onto the bike. I've been on the bike now about 15 minutes, and they're so fucking comfortable. This is not something that I expected from what almost seems like a novelty. You know, it's really advertised as this hardcore, badass glove, chase your inner fucking dragons, and all this other crazy stuff that, you know, maybe that appeals to the millennials. It doesn't really appeal to me, but I gotta tell you, they're super comfortable. Obviously, the protection that we talked about is there. That's not an observation. That's just, you know, what's actually there. I get plenty of feel through my handlebars. I don't feel like I'm dead in the saddle. This is fantastic. And they're conforming to the shape of my hand very, very quickly. I'm not going to get the chance to get over here, am I? Okay. Soccer mom wants to be a bitch. Anyway, they're conforming to the shape of my hand wonderfully. They feel great on the bars. I have absolutely no complaints about the way these things feel. Now, how they flow air, that's something entirely different. And listen, you can look just at the pictures and know what you're getting into. It's not like this is a surprise. It's not a perforated glove. You can very clearly see that. It's full leather coverage. I feel a little bit of air coming around to the backside. I'm surprised by that. So it seems to take the airflow as it's coming around the knuckle and bringing it up into your hand. And that's not something that I really expected. You'll have to excuse my microphone. I'm not sure how well it picks up past the wind noise at 125 miles an hour. All right, so now that we're a more manageable speed, let's talk about how they feel. Really, I don't feel any airflow through the fingers, through the palm, or anything like that. I am getting the surprising airflow back here. Very happy about that. I really don't see this as being too much of an issue. At some point, we've all ridden in hot temperature climates in a non-perforated glove, and you can judge your own comfort from that. These are not any more or less uncomfortable than a standard all-leather full coverage glove would be. They feel great around the wrist. That wrist wrap is doing a great job. I actually don't even notice it. I don't feel it. It feels like the glove is secure. It's not moving around as I move my wrist. Not that I'm really doing this a lot when I'm riding. Hey, sailor, how you doing? No, not really. But through natural wrist movement, it actually feels fine. And the back of my hands are actually very, very cool. Got a nice tactility through that kangaroo palm. Now, I use a different type of grip than most people do. I use foamies. These things are like, I don't know, 12 bucks or some shit like that. And I started buying foam grips back when I got my Ducati Diavolo Carbon. Ducatis are famous by having a lot of buzz in their handlebars. So I would ride that bike for about an hour and my hands would actually go numb. The buzzing was so bad. And that was with the stock rubber grips that were on there. And I was on a little bit of a road trip that day, and I just happened to map out where the closest motorcycle accessories place would be. And I pulled in there, I said, what have you got that'll fit my bars that will keep my hands from falling asleep, at least just long enough to get me home? And he says, you know what I've been using for 20 years? It's the greatest thing in the world, foam grips. You won't feel as much of the feedback from the bike as maybe you would with more of a performance-oriented grip, but they're super comfortable, they're squishy, and there's no more vibration getting through to your hands. So every bike that I've had, except for my Harley, every bike I've had since then, I put these grips on there and they're fantastic. So I'm losing a little bit of sensation in my bars just because I have these grips. However, I feel every bit as connected when I'm wearing these gloves as I do if I'm riding the bike barehanded. I don't ever ride that way, but you know, moving it around from the garage to the front of the house or some shit like that, little short sprints, it feels very much the same. The only difference is I don't actually have skin on foam contact. That's it. So all I can say is this: if you've been eyeballing these gloves and thinking, well, I think the style's pretty damn cool, it may not be too over the top, but I wonder how they're going to perform. Are they just a gimmick? They're super expensive. There's a lot of other gloves I could be looking at in the same price range. Are they worth the money? I would tell you yes, provided that you're not looking for superior airflow and that you're not concerned with not having sliders on the palm of the hand. With those two, and another thing, as long as you don't really worry about having the touchscreen control. Now, there is a product, and I'll be talking about it in another video, that you can apply to any glove, and it makes it touchscreen compatible, and it does work. I tested it out on 2 pair of my other gloves, and it works great. So as long as those things don't do it, stay over there. As long as those things don't bother you, you're going to be in great shape. I would say absolutely go for it. Do your best to shop around and find a place that's going to allow you to return them if for some reason the fitment isn't right before you get on the bike. I order most everything I buy through Revzilla and sportbiketrackgear.com. Both of them, I do believe, yeah, both of them have these in stock. They're the same price everywhere. You're not going to find a discount. $225, that's the way it is. But if you're not too concerned with the price of them, you're going to be very happy. And really, you are absolutely getting your money's worth. I'm not feeling any stress of having to break these in. I'm not feeling them overly tight. The only sensation that I feel is across the knuckle protector. I'm pretty sure that I read somewhere that it had some sort of foam or gel pad or something between the knuckle protector and your hand. If there is one, I don't feel it. I can actually feel the hardness of the knuckle. Now, it's not bad. I just noticed that it's there. Will it be uncomfortable after a couple hours of riding? I don't really know yet. But right now, it's not cumbersome, it's not bothering me, but it is something to be aware of, that you will feel that knuckle. It's not like a lot of knuckle protectors I felt on other gloves where there's actually an indentation at each knuckle, or it's concaved out on the entire interior where the knuckle of your hand will actually go up into it. this feels like it's a pretty flat base underneath the knuckle. And that's what I'm feeling my hand hitting, or feeling my knuckles hitting. So do be aware that you will have that sensation. Again, it's not terribly uncomfortable or anything like that, but it is something you should be aware of. And with that, guys, I think I'm going to cut it off here. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please click like on the video, subscribe, you know, all that stuff that YouTubers say out of horrible desperation to raise their numbers. Listen, you can click like or subscribe if you want. I don't give a shit. I hope that you do, because I want you to be able to get the alerts when I upload new videos, which I'm going to try to do as often as I can, so that you don't miss anything. So if you're looking at making a buying decision on something, or you just want to hear some asshole ranting about shit while he's riding down the freeway, then you'll get those notifications and catch all the newest videos.